And we are live, everybody.
Roll credits.
We're rolling the print. We're rolling it down. It's game night. We're here. Master's Tale. Let's get it going. We have no intro for this, by the way.
No,
All right.
just do the regular intro. Regular intro. If you got it.
No, there is no regular intro.
You don't have a regular okay.
No,
The
not on the
intro
game
is
night.
that there's not an intro.
There is no. Wait, there is one, but I don't have it. I can do that, but I have to switch the whole brand here.
Okay, whatever. You know what? Forget it. Forget it.
No, colors
just-
are changed. No, it's happening.
We are so professional.
Yeah, that's the jam right there. That is
It's catchy, and you know what? It wasn't made by AI, which actually I think makes it
was
better.
not.
That's an actual person.
John
Actual
Murphy,
person.
everybody.
So normally we start out these things with like a monologue that I have had someone else that is a computer write. But so today, if you aren't aware, it was the death of the great Bob Newhart. Now, Bob Newhart, comedian for decades. I think he spent like 6 decades of comedic work, which is a lot of decades because like that's like 3 more decades than I have ever existed. So he was also a good Catholic man. He refused to do anything like raunchy to get a laugh. He always kept the comedy very simple. But I wanted to, as an homage to him, play one of his bits from his album, the Bob Newhart anthology, something like this. Something like this, the Bob Newhart anthology. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and hopefully do this right to share my.
Like you said, we're professional, everybody. We got it. We're rolling. We're rolling.
Super duper professional. So let me. Okay, hold on. I gotta share.
Shared with the world.
I know the thing is that I have to share it. I have to use a Google tab, and I don't. There is a Google tab. Okay. All right, we're trying it again. Share my screen, Chrome tab, YouTube Music, share. Okay, so right here, we're sharing, and we're gonna play. I've been tossing it back and forth. These are both good ones, but I'm gonna go with The Expectant Father. So just listen and enjoy. This is Bob Newhart, and he is a comedic genius. So just enjoy it.
I was going to say I was recently married. I was married January 12th, and we had a son 5 weeks ago. Now, to save you the trouble of counting on your fingers, that works out. It works out. But they say that a man can never have a child because he could never stand the pains that a woman goes through in delivering a baby. And this is true. But a man does go through a little hell too, you know. And after you're all finished and you have the baby, you begin to wonder how the world ever got overpopulated because everybody swears, that's the last one. I'm not going through that again. I'm not going through that. What happens? You read books, and you can read all the books in the world, and it isn't going to cover it, you know. But when it actually happens, believe me, you will turn to jelly like I did and like every other expectant father does. My wife is very calm about it. I'm lying in bed, and I just heard some noise or something, a suitcase, and I wake up, and I say, what's the matter? And she says, I think we better go to the hospital. Now, my immediate reaction is to just panic, but you've read in these books that you should be very calm. So I tried to be calm. I said, okay, honey. I said, now have you been timing the contractions? She said, yes, they're about 5 minutes apart. Well, now one of the books said this means 6-7 hours. And we're 45 minutes from the hospital. But that's another thing you'll find out, that all obstetricians, any self-respecting obstetrician, will always have his office 45 minutes away from the hospital that he practices at, you see, and it's usually about an hour away from your home. This is for the father's benefit, so he can go crazy on the way there. Because you always have visions of having to deliver the baby, you know, and this can turn you to deal. Anyway, I'm trying to be very calm. I said, all right, honey, you finish packing the suitcase. And by the way, you never use anything in the suitcase. They tell you to pack a suitcase. This is just to give the wife something to do while the husband is getting dressed, because you take the little bag down to the hospital and they shove it off in a corner and they give it to you when you leave, you know, and it's never opened. So I went in the bathroom and I shaved and I put the Band-Aids on my face. Came out, you know, and I said, well, okay, honey, I think we better go. And she said, aren't you going to call a doctor? I said, of course. It's very good. He should know about it. He said, we should. So he can be there, or at least a representative of his. So I went into the den, very calmly looked up his number in the phone book and dialed his number, picked up the phone and said, and hung up. And we went down. We got in the car. You know, we're driving along. And we're about 15, 20 minutes on our way to the hospital. And my wife says, you know, you call the doctor? I said, yeah, honey. I said, Dr. Miller will be down there about half an hour, you know, and nothing. She said, Dr. Miller's my dentist. What the hell do you call my dentist? So I said, well, they talk to other doctors and, you know, I'm sure he'll know what to do. You know, if a cab driver can deliver a baby, certainly a dentist can. You know? And of course, whenever you're in a hurry, there's always two people in front of you who are practicing for a parade of some kind. They're going about 2 miles an hour, you know? And my wife is timing the contractions now on the auto clock, and they're not too reliable anyway, you know? And they're about 3 minutes apart, and this is beginning to worry me a little bit. So I'm zooming down Wilshire, and I finally get to the hospital and figure, you know, finally, while we're here, there are a lot of doctors around and nurses, so my concern should be over, but it's not over. This is really when your troubles start. This hospital we went to is a strange hospital because they have a parking lot, and you have to put a quarter in this slot, and then the gate comes up. You know, they don't work on the honor system. Apparently, they figure, you know, you're going to drop your wife off and then take off to Acapulco or something, you know, till it's over. And it's not the easiest thing to hit at 20 miles an hour, which is about what I was doing when we arrived at the hospital. But finally, we got inside, and you go to the admitting office. There's a nurse there. She says, how do you do, sir? What is your name? I said, my name is Hart. She said, all right, Mr. Kirk, and is this your wife? I said, no, this is a hitchhiker. She was hitchhiking down here to the hospital, and it's right on my way to work, and it isn't that far out of the way, so I figured I'd drop her off. She said, well, we have to have the husband sign the paper. I said, I am the husband. I was just a little attempted humor there. She said, now, sir, do you have Blue Cross or any other hospital plan? And I'm getting a little panicky now. I said, could I possibly, answer the questions while you take my wife upstairs? And she said, well, no, we need your wife to sign the form at the end of it. So I said, well, if you wait about 15 minutes, all three of us can sign this form. That's very important. And with this, she panicked because she wasn't a nurse, it turned out. She was a clerk at the hospital, and she wouldn't have known what to do, if the baby came there. So she got her in the elevator and got her upstairs. And they have two wonderful rooms, wonderfully titled rooms. They call one the labor room, and the other one is called the hard labor room. In other words, you're going to scream your head off in this room, which makes the wife feel great. And you're allowed now to stay with your wife for a while until she goes into the hard labor room. So finally, you take my wife into the hard labor room, and you can find nothing out from any hospital people if you're an expectant father. You are the lowest form of life in a hospital. No one, even maintenance people, will have nothing to do with it. And there are people running around, with various assorted pans of one kind or another, with worried looks on their faces. And I don't think they're nurses. They're just people that are hired to run around looking worried, because this makes the father feel better, that they're concerned. And then they have the father's room. It's sort of a torture chamber that they devised to drive the father nuts while the wife is having the baby. And this is filled with guys you just wouldn't believe. They're all like that. And there's one guy in there who has just had a baby, and he is superior to everybody else. He's sort of gloating, And of course, I'm trying to get information out of him, and I say, they just took my wife into hard labor. I'm like, what will it be, 15, 20 minutes, I guess. So, no. Oh, no. Oh, 5, 6, 7 hours. You say, you see that poor guy over there in the corner? 32 hours he's been. And there's a guy in the corner. He's not making any sense at all. He's going, So as I say, I don't know how the world ever got overpopulated, because we swore we would never do it again. But it has a happy ending, because we had a little son, Robert William, and he was 7 pounds 14 ounces. And I became a father officially the other day. You're officially a father, when the baby is born, but you aren't really a father until your baby has gone all over you. And my son went all over me the other day, and I'm a member of an exclusive fraternity now. But believe me, when it happens, it's wonderful.
So that's a nice little Bob Newhart stand-up bit. He's got a lot of them. He also had a book. I Shouldn't Even Be Here is the name of the book. I didn't know. So I had not known that he was a Catholic comedian, and like one of the greatest Catholic comedians to have ever lived, until today when I looked it up, because I heard he had died. And I always was a fan of Bob Newhart because he's hilarious. But I looked it up, and it said, whenever it's someone, it's like, I want to check this. Whenever somebody dies, I want to be like, I want to check to see if they're Catholic, to see, whether or not I pray for mercy, or just, I know this guy was just avowed Satanist, but could you have some mercy on him? Or if they're a good Catholic person, like, okay, just make their time in purgatory short, right? That's kind of the thing, the back and forth that you do. But he was a good Catholic man, married his only one wife his whole life, which in Hollywood is like basically that's sainthood in and of itself. And and so but yeah, so I wanted to do a little bit of honoring for him. I've ordered his book. Who is in my all right. So I want to do a little bit of honoring there for him. So I'd like for us all to take a moment to say a prayer for him. So, this is going to be an off the cuff, and as a traditional Catholic, I don't do off the cuff very well, so my apologies. But dear God, please guide Bob Newhart's soul into your loving graces, and may, if he is in purgatory, may his time there be short, and if he is not, may he be in heaven then. And he's brought a lot of joy and humor into the world, and he has done so while still remaining a good man, which is something that a lot of us would like to aspire to be able to bring that kind of joy and still stay true to you. So if you could please find it in your heart to expedite his journey into heaven, I think we'd all appreciate it. In nomine Patri Filii Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
That was beautiful. I love it.
I know that was like, as far as, like I said, for traditional Catholics, it's rote prayers all the way. It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like, where's the book? Where's the book of prayers for the thing?
The book of prayers. Just
like,
pull it out.
I need to find it. There's the guide of prayers for the lady. I had to find comedian death and then look that one up. But there's, unfortunately, that book is upstairs, and I am clearly in a garage. People might think I'm in a basement, but no, I'm in the garage, not the basement. Come on. I don't have air conditioning in here, by the way, so it is currently that here.
Oh my good! How are you alive, sir?
So over here, there's a fan, and underneath this desk, there's another fan. And
okay, you got some fans. Okay, I was about to say, ain't no fans in there.
It's a dry heat. Imagine you're in an oven, right? that's just what it's like. It's okay because right now I've got the fans on, so it's a convection oven as opposed to a regular oven. So it cooks at lower temperature. Point is, I'm fine. It's when you're out in Arizona, if there's no sunlight directly on you, it could get to 110 and you're fine. So long as there's a slight breeze and no direct sunlight. And I've got, I don't know, have you seen these? I've seen them at Costco, but I bought mine from Costco. But they're these giant fans, and they're not giant, they're small fans, but they move a lot of air really quickly. They're like kind of look like a snail shell, and then the snail head is a fan, is where the air comes out. So I've got one of those that's under my desk, and it's actually blowing into my pant legs, so it's quite nice. See, when I don't have AI write a script for me, I can just go off topic here, so that's great. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm actually really excited about today because we've got Catholic Tabletop Guy. Now, if you remember, about a month ago, we had him on, and I was like, you know what? We're totally gonna do a tabletop game, all of us with you. Let's make it happen. And then Pappas last week was like, "Were we supposed to do a tabletop game with that guy?" Like
whoever he is.
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, no, that was, yeah." So we're doing it, and so what we got here is today we're going to be going over and creating our characters, which is supposed to be a fun and exciting experience. So each of us, one at a time, is going to go over what our ideas are for characters. Tabletop Guy is going to roll up sheets and stuff, I hear. And
we should probably say what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm going to let Catholic Tabletop Guy talk about what we're doing, because he's actually like, he's the host in this, like he's the guest, but the guest host, but not a guest. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Just put them down.
Okay.
I guess I'm the host. Okay.
What?
You've been thrusted upon the hosting.
I'm Italian, so if I put my hands down, I'm basically mute. I don't know what I'm supposed to how. But I'm going to put my hands down. I'm going to put myself actually on mute, and I'm going to let Catholic Tabletop Guy explain what we're going to do today, and we're going to go one at a time creating our characters. So.
Okay, so I just want to bring up something funny before we start that. They have videos of Italians putting their phone on their shoulder so they can talk with two hands. And I just think that's the funniest thing in the world. That they're hand gesturing to somebody.
That sounds hilarious.
Is it like what do you call an Italian with only one arm? A speech impediment? It's like,
or an accent.
Right? Accent. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those. I've been on work calls and like gesturing. Oh. That's a different thing. Gesturing at a screen when my camera's not on, and I'm like talking like this to no one because no one can see it, but I need to do it for me.
Okay, so what we're going to do is get started. So the game is called Master's Tale. Now people say T-A-I-L. It's T-A-L-E, the tale of becoming a master. Gotcha. Master's Tale. So the game is going to play somewhat similarly to D&D and Pathfinder in that you're going to take a D20 dice. So we'll use an online dice generator, and you'll roll that dice to kind of see what happens in the game. So, and then your characters will have 6 base stats, and there's a 7th one that we'll get to in a little bit. So your stats break down into strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So just to explain those, strength, I'm going to run into something. How much can I lift? How much can I move? How hard can I hit? Your dexterity, how well can you do something either speedily or with adept hand-eye coordination? Constitution, you get punched in the gut, you get poisoned, something happens to you. How well do you handle it? Intelligence, how well do you observe and solve puzzles? Wisdom, how experienced are you and how much knowledge do you have? And charisma, how well do you talk? Basically, for lack of a better term, talk or act. How well are you convincing other sentient beings to do things? So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into character creation. It's really straightforward. It should take probably about 10, 15 minutes per person. and that'll be a wrap. I don't know where Steven went, so
He said he was gonna grab some water, so I dropped him out. He'll be okay.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go ahead. Whoever wants to start.
All right. I guess I'll start off since I got the groove going. And I'm kind of a little new to it, but I've been similar to it. So what's my first step? Let's go. Let's get this going. I'm ready.
Okay.
I love this.
First, what you're going to do is you're going to choose your race. So you had talked to me about being an orc. So we already got that out of the way. So we can give a little history on the orcs later on, but basically, let me go ahead and pull up my orcs here. So there are 3 different types of orcs that we're going to be picking from the base game. The Onian orcs, which are our sharp seers and hearers. There are hunters. The Cayenne orcs, which are our big, thick-skinned kind of defensive orcs. And the Ronian orcs, which are our long-tusked, strong orcs. So you had expressed to me some interest in the Cayenne.
Yes, sir.
Started.
Yes, sir. The Cayenne, they sound really good. I like the defensive strong.
So what we're going to do, and I can go ahead and I can put your stats in the chat so people kind of have an idea of what you're looking at. But your stats for your race are just kind of laid out, so you're not rolling stats or anything like that. So let's see here. Let me partial screen this, and we'll start typing in some of these stats here. That way everybody can kind of see what we got going on. So all orcs are going to possess certain abilities. The orcs as a whole possess an ability called feral power. So their feral power, let's see here. Sorry, I'm working on one screen.
I like the dual screens. I don't have one, but I say I want to get another screen going on. I get the dual screens, but
not out here in the shed. But yeah, no. So you get +3 to your strength rolls to try to escape holding, both physical and natural, as well as grappling. So you're very hard to hold down. You also get an additional 15 feet of movement. So I'm going to go ahead and give you your stats here. I guess I can just put them in as I'll try this as individual messages, and we'll see how it looks. And if it looks wonky, then we'll do it another way.
Dexterity. All right. Oh, I'm not very.
Now, stats will get much, much higher than your traditional D&D. So people will look at some of these and go, oh, my goodness. Yeah, your stat modifiers and your stats will get up to like 50s if you play the game long enough. So as a Cayenne orc, you also get the ability Pressured Flesh. This just gives you an additional 1 natural armor. So when you get hit, armor takes damage off. So if you would take 5 damage, you take 4 instead.
Hey,
so that's every hit. So nice little bonus. Okay, so those are your basic stats. Did it enter all of them twice?
It's doing it like 3 times, but I mean, it's not bothering me. I don't know if it's like maybe because it's linked to multiple. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. Well, I'm going to do it as 1 then from now on. I'll just make it one thing. Okay. So from there, after you've chosen your race, you'll choose your race and your subrace. You'll choose your background. So if you're following along, backgrounds are on page 14 of the book.
Okay.
So it depends on what you want to do. So how do you want this character to fight and interact and so on?
Okay. So you interact and fight?
Well, yeah, like, are you wanting this character to be a scholar, to be a fighter, to be
gotcha.
Sneaky?
Okay.
Yeah, what well, kind of your background is kind of where you come from.
Oh, okay. Definitely sneaky for sure.
Okay.
That's
So as far as being sneaky goes, you have a lower dex than normal, but you can always build up your dexterity, so that's fine.
Okay. So you can build
Rogue is going to give you an ability called Shadow Cloaking, which will use your dexterity to hide yourself, right? You're going to be quiet. You're going to sneak along in the darkness, take people out, so on. As that's really the premier stealth one. That being said, orcs also work really well as athlete. You can move an extra 15 feet a turn. Soldier, you have an additional 5 health. There's quite a few different looks for orcs, but mostly they fall under either athlete, soldier, rogue. Unless you want to be a religious orc, if you want to go like a paladin type character as well, you go religious and get healing.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I
Okay.
would love to heal. Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and type that in here. Religious. Okay, so that'll show you what your stat changes are. So as a religious, you get +1 intelligence and +2 wisdom. So that'll just add on top of your existing intelligence and wisdom.
Gotcha.
So your wisdom was a 13, so it's now a 15, and your intelligence was 10, so it's now an 11.
Hey, I went up. I'm more smart for once in my life.
All right. So now you're going to go ahead and pick your weapon and an off-turn ability. So what kind of weapon do you want?
Oh, that is a good question.
They have just about everything under the sun, and this is a fictional 16th century, so you can wield like a gun if you wanted to as well. You can have like a musket.
Are you serious? All right, I was trying to get this handbook here, but my computer's being a little malfunction with it. So any weapon in the book, so I could have like like a mace.
Absolutely.
Sweet, I want a mace. Maces are awesome.
All right.
It's one of my favorite weapons of choice.
Do you want to go? So they do have a one-handed mace. You can wield that with a shield if you want to. Do you want to look at the two-handed weapons as well, or do you want to go one-handed with a shield?
Because I already have let's look at the two hands. What do we got with two hands?
All right. Well, let me read off the one-handeds to you first, just to make sure. So these are one-handed strong weapons as opposed to swords. So this is going to be everything but swords, basically. This is going to be all the stuff you hit hard with. So you have the battle axe, the mace, the battle hammer, the club, and the maul.
Ooh. Very nice. Very nice. Let's go. I think I'm going to stick with the mace actually in the shield. Let's do mace and shield.
Okay. So you will pick an off-turn ability, but because you chose shield, there is one off-turn ability that is better than all the other ones because it's how you block with the shield.
Okay.
So if you'll let me railroad you a little bit, I'm gonna move you. I'm gonna tell you to pick that one. Okay. So your first ability will be strong block shield.
Let's go.
So this will be a block.
I like how it's forming.
Strength or constitution with +5 to the roll. So that's the advantage of having a shield is you get a big old +5 to that defense roll.
That's nice.
Yes.
I like that.
So your mace, so that's your off-turn ability. So your off-turn is how you're going to be blocking. So if somebody comes at you, it's not just like an armor class. You go, I'm going to use strong block. That being said, some people will get 3 and 4 different types of things where they'll have a move that dodges, a move that blocks, etc. So as you build your character out, you can get more moves. Some people will fight entirely on the off turn, like counter stabbing people, which is what it is. Okay, so the mace is a D6 +5 damage, can be used with strength or constitution, which both of them you're good with. So abilities that you could pick up with the mace. Block Smash. Okay, so Block Smash is a primary move, so it's going to replace your normal hit with the mace. It's
Okay.
going to deal D4+1 concussive damage, which is just armor-piercing damage. And the opponent cannot block for the remainder of their off turn. So what you're doing is you're sacrificing the D6+5 damage, but maybe opening up an opportunity for your ally to hit this guy.
Gotcha.
Fury Strikes is going to add 1 damage to your primary attack for each weapon attack, each weapon primary you make over the course of a battle. So your first turn, you'll hit normal. Your second turn, you'll hit 1 more. Your third turn, you'll hit 2 more, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice. Okay. Fury Strikes. That sounds good. Cool.
Strong. So I've got 2 more, and then I've got the mace specific ability, and you'll just
Sweet.
choose one of those between the 3. But in Master's Tale, you can learn these abilities. So
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
yeah, so the tale of becoming a master is you find a master and you spend experience. So this is all just like point buy.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Gotcha. Point.
I meet
Sweet.
Mr. Miyagi and I learned a crane kick.
Yeah.
So hopefully you won't be washing too many cars. But so the strong swing backlash is a secondary move, so it can be done twice a turn or once a turn with your primary. It deals D4+1 concussive and can knock enemies back 15 feet. Finally, you have your Rip Slice. This, after you hit successfully, you do another move to rend their flesh out, and it deals 4 bleed damage. So those are all moves that you can pick with. And then Smashing Parry. We're not going to get into Smashing Parry because it's another off turn, and I don't want to confuse people.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Um,
I think I might go with Fury. The Fury Strikes.
Fury Strikes. All right. So we'll go ahead. Fury Strikes. +1 to each consecutive primary. I hope I spelled consecutive right. Okay. So finally, you'll pick your very first master. So masters are divided into tiers between 2 and 5. Tier 1 is abilities you can get just by wielding the weapon and learning it. So everything I've talked to you about now, you can learn just by swinging your mace around and fighting and learning.
Okay. Cool.
So your tier 2 masters, I'm just going to read them off to you. You can decide which one you want. It's probably going to come down to maybe 1 or 2 of them. Go ahead and get down to this section. Tier 2 masters. You have the trooper, the knight, the fighter, the huntsman, the cavalier. So those are going to be in your combatants. Your technicians, you have the entertainer, the trickster, the thief, and the engineer. And in your support, you have the traveler, the cleric, the doctor, and the caster.
Let's go with the cleric.
Cleric, okay. So you already have holy hands. You'll have one of the cleric abilities already. There is no love lost, though. You can find masters. These are all very common masters that you can find throughout the game.
Cool.
There's no regrets in Master's Tale.
No.
Unless you try to build a very silly character and then get mad about that very silly character. Okay. So the cleric has 3 abilities you can choose from because you already have holy hands. The first one is Great Love of God. So whenever you're trying to do something morally prudent and good, your charisma goes way up. It can't be something selfish. So this would be, examples are peacemaking, aiding the underprivileged, or defending innocent lives. Your charisma goes up +10. So you get +10 to that roll. So that's the first one. Second one is the Guard of Saints prayer. So you sit down and you meditate. You're praying for your party. You heal them all 1d4 +2 every turn, and they gain 2 armor. Finally, you have the Shield of Faith prayer, which gives one of your teammates 2 armor for the next hour. So one's kind of a prayer that you can apply to one person, and it sticks with them for a little bit. The other one is meditative for your whole team. And then the final one is, I'm really good at helping the poor and underprivileged.
I'll go with that last one right there, man. That one sounds really good. I'll help out my teammate.
The great, the Shield of Faith or the Great Love of God?
Shield of Faith.
Shield of Faith. Okay. Shield of Faith. gives allies +2 armor for 1 hour. There we are. Okay, that's your character. So
Right.
you have a cleric master, so you can learn Great Love of God or Guard of Saints if you want to at any point. And let's give what's your character's name?
That's a very tough question. That's a very the first and last. There's one name in general. Does it matter? You do whatever I want.
Do it, whatever you want.
Let's go with this is terrible. It's like if I ever pick a name for my own self, what would I give myself? It's like if I choose like the most basic name, Mikey. Let's go with Mikey.
Mikey, okay.
Mikey.
Sure, yeah. That's fine. So Mikey the Orc. All right, sounds good. So whoever's next will go ahead and knock
All
out.
right, who's up? I'm picking you, Catholic Comedy. You've been chosen.
I was just gonna say, like, I was typing up on my thing here. Okay, so I got a generic character sheet online to try to fill some of this information out so that I will have it. Okay,
Nice.
so we had a conversation prior to the show, but I'm just gonna rehash that conversation. On one of our last the last call, what I recall and what stuck with me was there's this race called the Merfolk. And these merfolk are like I said that they're evil, but because they genetically manipulate their children prior to birth in order to make them something that, like what is necessary. So like if they need more soldiers, they toss the eggs of the preborn children eggs, right? Not born, pre-hatched eggs, and they toss them into a pool that'll turn them into soldiers to meet their quotas. And if they need more healers, they'll toss them into a pool to make them healers. And there's some other third one, but
yes, so they're one of 3 races in Master's Tale that reproduces that way with eggs, and all 3 of them have a process of what's called culling, where the eggs, when they are basically it's not semi-opaque, where they're softer, they will pour the blood and biomaterial of specific fish into it to give the merfolk more of that quality.
Yeah.
So like sharks or crocodiles or gars or etc. with the Makos that we talked about.
right.
So
right.
you would be the big burly fighter of the merfolk.
Yes. So that's what so my thought was turn the whole thing on its head. Show this like genetic engineering thing that it doesn't. These merfolk men, whatever, they don't tell me how to live. I tell me how to live. So I'm going with the merfolk, and I don't remember the burly, whatever the
Makos.
Makos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that a class or is that just?
So that is your subrace. So
right.
The merfolk are broken down into glades, which are like pretty angelfish reef birth mothers.
Right.
The serpentines, which are the big snake people that control said society, and then the Makos, which are our resident, large, dangerous predator fish.
So I'm a burly predator who has been raised as a kind of a knight in their realm, but I don't want to do that anymore, which is why I'm not with the merfolk and why I'm on this adventure. So
okay,
that's my character idea here. So let's start there, and then so my race is merfolk with a subrace of Makos. So then what else? So I was kind of paying attention to the things that you were sending to him before. I've got this generic character sheet that I'm going to try to fill out here. So let's start with what's the next thing that I'm doing.
Okay, so the Makos, you're going to fill out their basic stats, which I can give to you unless you're.
Please, I don't have them in front of me. I've just got my.
Sure. So you're I'm not going to type it in because it enters my thing like 3 times. So I'll just do that for the abilities.
For each
But,
person that's watching it, they're only going to see it one time per stream that they're on. Except
Oh,
that we're on
okay,
3
okay.
streams. We're streaming it on my YouTube channel, on the Pappas YouTube channel, and on the Late Night Levity YouTube channel. So because we're streaming it
Gotcha.
3 times, you make a comment, it comments 3 times.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. And then, so this is going to be your base stats here.
Okay. All right. So strength is 18. Dexterity is 13. Constitution is 18. Wow, that's pretty good for Constitution. Intelligence is 10. I was not expecting it that high of intelligence. Wisdom is 11 and charisma is 8. Oh, well, at least the charisma matches my home personality. Okay.
And the base stats will get a little bit higher, or quite a bit higher in this game as we go forward. Okay, so your 2 abilities are going to be Serrated Bite and Dangerous Hide. So
Okay.
Serrated Bite is going to deal D4 plus 2 plus 4 bleeding damage.
Plus 4 bleeding. Cool.
And then your Dangerous Hide, I'll just read it out, allows the user to call on their primal instinct to imbue their skin with the power of underwater creatures. This aesthetic can manifest itself in the form of spikes, scales, venoms, etc. So for you, it'll be scales because you're a fish guy. The user deals 2 damage to all opponents making melee attacks on them for each melee attack made or blocked. So you're going to be difficult to deal with because you kind of cut people up.
Okay. Melee. That was a good game, Melee. I love playing that. All right. Okay. Cool. Special attacks, and apparently this sheet has a place for that. So that's awesome. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So then you'll pick your background. So if you want to, you would talk to me about being bad at performing and not specifically picking performing.
Right. So the idea here is I am this like really strong warrior guy, and I'm just sick of it. And so at the start of my journey, I want to meet a master that can teach me the performing arts and stuff like that. But like that's kind of what my character's idea is, that my character doesn't want to be the big hulking, fighting, massive guy that he is. He wants to be something akin to a D&D bard, which doesn't exist in this universe, but he also doesn't know that. So he's
trying his best.
Yeah, he's out there thinking that he can adventure without having to be the tank, even though he clearly is the tank.
Okay, so I think the perfect background for you then will be soldier.
Okay.
Because it's what you are. So that just gave it to you here. So you get the ability Hardened Knight. It gives you +5 health. And then you get +1 strength, +1 dex, +1 con. So that'll add to your base stats. So your strength will be 19, dex 14, con 19.
Okay. So my you said it was plus what to health?
+5.
+5. Okay. That's okay. That's the Heart of Night +5 to health. Got it. Let me write that down. Okay, and then my strength stat is going to go up. Strength, dex, and con go up by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So 19, 14, 19. Cool.
Okay, so we're gonna have a team of some burly guys.
There's nothing wrong with a team of burly guys. Everything's fine there. I mean, we don't know because we still have Pappas, and he might be like, "I'm a fairy," and then he'll
He
tell
could
us
be.
what he picks up.
Okay, so what kind of weapon do you want to wield?
Okay, so I presume that so I don't want to wield a weapon, but I presume I would have a weapon. Right?
You can just punch people too.
Well, so my thought is that I want to have, like, let's say an axe, but I have attached guitar strings on it, even though it doesn't work and nobody cares and it doesn't actually make something to it. I just want to be a musician, so I've got an axe, and
Okay.
I try to play the guitar. Or I could just have nothing and just be fisticuffs if it comes to it, but also
No,
have it.
that's fine. Axe with guitar strings has been done before, believe it or not.
Sweet.
Um,
Of course it has. So we'll go with axe.
So you have a one-handed battle axe and a two-handed war axe. What do you want? Thinking if it's a guitar-length axe, might
It's
be
got to be the war axe.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me go down to the war axe. So your war axe will deal. So this is a big whopping single primary attack for D12 plus 5 damage. Your war axe
Wow.
hits pretty hard.
Yeah, that sounds like that's a pretty burly axe there.
Which will be used for serenading people. So with your war axe, you can learn 4 different abilities that any two-handed weapon can learn, and then you'll have a special one for your war axe. So the first one is Power Blow. You just add D4 plus 3 concussive damage to your axe primary attack. Power Blow is the one that most people go with because it just gives you one big swing. Second one, Shield Smashing. Your primary attack has the added benefit of forcing someone who's using a shield to make a strength check. If they, let's see here. Yes, so they're forced to make a strength check against your attack to be able to block it. So if you see somebody with a shield, you're just beating them like a hammer. Handle Pummel. It's a secondary move, so you can do it on top of your regular hit for D6 plus 1 damage. You just hit them with the pummel of the weapon. And Slaying Defense. So Slaying Defense acts as a normal block. However, you're swinging your axe around wildly. Slaying Defense forces opponents to choose between a dex check to dodge to get in or a strength check to power their way in to avoid getting hit by your axe as they come to attack you.
I want the shield smash.
Okay.
That sounds
Shield
like, you know, just if someone would have a shield, then it would just be like, okay, let's break that shield if necessary.
Okay, so shield smashing it is. That means every time you swing with your primary, if it hits a shield, you're going to force a strength check for them to not fail that block. Okay. For your off-turn ability, there is 2 off-turns you can choose.
Okay.
The one is that Slaying Defense that I talked about. You swing your axe around you wildly as a means of basically keeping people at bay.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is Strong Block Weapon. So that just gives you a strength or a con block plus 2.
Okay, so one choice is to swing my guitar around wildly in defense, like I'm swatting a fly or something like that, and everyone has to either dexterously get around that or power their way through it. And the other option was just giving me a boost to some stats.
Yeah, so it's just a regular block with plus 2.
Okay. I'm going to swing my axe around wildly.
Okay, Slaying Defense it is. I had someone recently take on a pack of Verdites, and basically they ran into a wood chipper as he swung his axe around. So
Cool.
it's definitely super useful. All right, so then finally you'll pick your Tier 2 Master.
Okay.
So your Tier 2 Masters, this is the person from your homeland that teaches you stuff or that you've learned stuff from. So you have in the combatants, Soldier, Knight, Fighter, Huntsman, Cavalier. In the technicians, you have Entertainer, Trickster, Thief, and Engineer. And in the support, you have Traveler, Cleric, Doctor, Caster.
Okay, so I got to think of my like character-wise. The idea is that I've been trained by a master fighter of some kind, and
Okay.
and now I'm setting out on my own. Like I'm thinking, like character-wise, that makes sense because I'm in my world stuck inside of like that's why I'm leaving the merfolk or being tossed out because I want to be a musician. So I think I would have to have like a fighter of some kind.
Okay. Well, so the fighter is more hand to hand, but knight or trooper would work for kind of what you're describing.
Trooper. Let's do trooper.
Trooper. Okay. Trooper
I'm
has.
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
super trooper. Things gonna find me like they always should. Okay, trooper.
Oh, and I'm answering this guy's question.
Oh, go on ahead.
Okay. So your 4 abilities for trooper, and then you're done. Combat sprinting, you get an extra 15 feet of movement. Medical packets, as a secondary, you can apply D4 plus 2 healing to people, or they can apply it to themselves. You can make these medical packets. Greater endurance increases stamina by 2 turns. So normally after you hit 5 turns, you're going to start making progressively higher constitution rolls. This staves those off for 2 turns.
Okay. All right, so that's what. So combat sprinting, medical packet, and greater endurance.
The other one is dual wielding, but you're wielding a big axe. So which one of those do you want?
Oh, I get to choose one.
Yes.
I'm going to say greater endurance.
Okay, so you'll have an additional 2 turns of fighting.
I think it makes sense for the character, even if the character wouldn't prefer that to be the case. It's just his evil overlords forced him into this life, and now
Gotcha.
he's broken free.
So I'm being told my 3-year-old is asleep inside the house, so I'm going to go ahead and be able to go back inside now. She was watching The Little Mermaid earlier. So I'm going to stay on, but I'll be walking over from the shed to the house. You get to see my boxing equipment over here for a little
And
bit.
we're going to lose him probably a bit.
Do.
All
All right,
you're in
Papist.
the yard. Yeah, let's pop me out and let's pop Papist in.
Yeah. So I had to change my guy
Oh no!
because everyone
Dangerous
else was
creature
going
back
all
here.
burly.
Those are the wolves that are coming out to come get me.
Oh, it's okay. I have a skunk in the shed.
This is the flavor of the adventure. We're going through a dark woods together in South Louisiana, so we're gonna get eaten by a rougarou.
I wasn't kidding. I had to deal with a skunk in my shed today.
I thought you were saying I wasn't kidding. I had to deal with a rougarou in my shed tonight. I was like, oh my goodness. All right. So, Ryan, what are we thinking?
All right, so I had to change it because I was going to go dwarf, but everyone else is going like beefy. So I am going to go high court elf.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you need me to give you your stats there? You got them in front of you?
10, 14, 9, 17, 14, 14.
Okay, sounds good. What background would you like to go ahead and pick?
So I've been a little confused. Can you clarify the background?
Okay, so backgrounds are on page. Scrolling up to it.
Just to clarify, I have the book.
He's a real fan, you know.
Yeah. So anybody who wants to buy it, it's on the screen right now.
So it's on page 14.
All right.
And this just gives your character one ability from tier 2, and then 2 different stats that are boost, except for soldier, which does 3 stats.
So, all right, I think I'm gonna go with aristocrat.
Okay, so you're just gonna start with a bunch of money, and then you'll add +2 to your intelligence and +1 charisma. People underestimate it. They're like, I get a free ability. It's like, yeah, but also a bunch of money is nice.
A bunch of money is nice. So I will be loaded.
Hold on, I'm responding to this guy.
I mean, you could just say it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. No. He was saying Kickstarter looks neat, kind of a Japanesey TTRPG mix and match skills. Yeah. The Kickstarter ended, and we ended up having to take about an extra 7 months worth of editing on certain sets of books and so on, getting everything out. But the Kickstarter's over, but you can definitely still purchase the book. But yeah, anime. I grew up on anime, so there's in the art style. There's just a little bit of that, just kind of peeking out every so often. Okay, so we've got a rich elf. Big surprise.
How much?
there.
How much? I start off with 4 times or 100.
4
gold.
times the amount of everyone else's gold, or 100 gold, whichever is greater. So you're rich no matter what. Even if your whole party's poor, you're rich. To put it to you this way, 1 gold is like a high-end day labor. So you've got like the equivalent. You're carrying around the equivalent of maybe 1 or 2 cars that you could purchase at any given time.
Very nice.
Okay. So trust me, I have a campaign running where they're like 10 gold. We can't afford that. You'd buy out the store.
That's awesome.
Okay, so what weapon are you wanting to wield?
So it's gonna have to. Sorry, I had it. Catholic comedy ended up taking a lot of stuff that I wanted.
No, I see.
So I'm like,
You should have gone last.
Yeah, no, it's okay. What do you want? I'm sorry. What are some? Because I do want to be a battle mage.
So we can definitely just make you a pure caster.
Well, right, I know that, but over the long haul, I want to get into more of a starting as a caster, going into more of a battle mage area.
Yeah. So what I would do with this build, there are 2 ways to do it. One, we can jump straight into your tier 2 master and just pick your stuff out of tier 2. The second is we can give you a magic weapon like a magical staff, wand, or talisman.
Let's go straight to 2.
Okay. So the simplest way, so this is one of the exceptions that I make in the rules, is that for people that want to play pure casters, I'll let them just pick caster abilities.
Makes sense.
So your tier 2 master will be a caster, which I hate saying caster master over and over and over again. It was an oversight, and it's now there forever.
Yep.
Okay, let me scroll down to caster. Okay, so caster's basic attack. So you'll need to pick an off turn. The only off turn in caster is arcane defense. So you can shield yourself with your intelligence stat. Then you have, if you want to go with an attack, arcane missile. Then you'll have 1 more ability you can pick out of caster, which will be on page 60 and 61.
Okay. All right. Arcane missile, and then. Well, could I do arc? Well, let's see. Oh my gosh, arcane mark.
I do love arcane mark. My poor cat has a cold. If you hear it sneezing,
Yeah, I heard it sneeze. That's interesting.
poor baby.
So
He's having a rough day.
let's. All right. Yeah, arcane missile. All arcane missile, which is one. All right, so D6 plus 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gives me intelligence plus 2.
No, so you don't add those for your base build of your character.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, so those are added on later after you, and then I get
Yeah,
to pick
so
them
if
up
you
more.
would pick them up adventuring, you would add them onto your abilities.
So, don't I automatically have magic detection?
As a scholar, you would.
Oh, I thought that was an elf ability.
No, as an elf, you have wise forms. You can transform into traditionally wise animals like owls.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, I'll do magic identifier or identification.
Okay. And then take arcane defense as your off turn.
Oh yeah, I thought you said I had to. So that I just
Yeah. I'm just making sure
Yep.
You aren't walking into battle without a means of defending yourself. The enemy swings at me, and I stare at him as it comes at me.
All right, magic.
So for our audience at home, you'll be able to shoot an arcane missile for D6 plus 3 for 90 feet of range. Arcane defense will be an intelligence-based shield that you can summon with your mind. And magic identification will allow you to identify spells using a wisdom check.
All right. It's
All
okay,
right.
Captain Harmony. It's forcing me to expand my horizons.
All right. Well, that's the characters. They're ready to set go.
All right, Steve, you should
My
probably just
internet
add it all
will
back
be
in.
up.
Yeah, let's all go back in, and
We're back.
let's introduce ourselves, introduce our characters. So I'll start, and then we'll do Steve-O, and then Pappas. This will give you a chance to write down the name of your character. So, I am Crackthor, the Murdinator. I am a merfolk. Makos. I'm a soldier. I have fought and killed many men. And what I desire from my next master is to learn how to play the lute. It seems like the next logical progression of my character is that I've killed and murdered everyone that I care to murder. And so I just want to play some songs, man. Just want to play some songs. That's me. And I mean, if I have to do some like bodyguard work for some rich elven jerk along the way, so I can find this master of bardsmithing, I guess that's just the path that I must go. Steve-O.
Oh, you're gonna like me now. Spotlight's on me, huh? The guy that's like the least knowing about the tabletops. But okay, so I'm Mikey the Orc. I'm a great defender and very sneaky. I don't know. I'm not really good at this.
Just say who you are. Yeah, very sneaky.
I'm sneaky. I'm a defender, and I want you master all.
And
He's
someday,
gonna sneak up on you with his
My mace.
someday, once you get out of the Goonies, you'll end up helping Samwise Gamgee, or you're gonna end up helping Frodo Baggins as Samwise Gamgee throw a ring into a lava.
They're the same. They're the same person.
Yeah, it's the same. Hey, look, Lord of the Rings is just a continuation of the Goonies. Okay, that's
Yes.
canon.
Thank you. You want to talk about conspiracy theories now?
that's canon. All right, Pappas, who are you? And what are you doing here?
I am Gerard. I am an aristocrat that comes from the high society of the elves, the oldest race by our understanding, and I am a caster. I am loaded and I shoot things.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Okay, so does it work for other things that could hold spells like scrolls or magical traps? Does what work that way?
Magic
I think you're talking
identity.
about the
Oh, yes. That being said, there is something more advanced called Enchanter's Sense, where you can actually if something has a magical property that's enchanted, you can identify it without opening it. So magic identification is more like, hey, there's some nature magic in this thing. I can pretty much surmise what it is. Whereas Enchanter's Sense is you pick up the ring and you go, it does this much damage. Exactly. So there's a more advanced form of it going on in tier 3.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's basically what we had planned for the day. I want to close on another thing of Bob Newhart, just to kind of add a little bit more of that, of his joy and levity into this. So I'm going to present again for my share screen, which is YouTube Music. And this one is also pretty darn good.
A friend with the dog.
This has happened to me, I bet 4 or 5 times, and I'm sure it's happened to most of you. You're invited to someone's house you haven't seen for some time, and they have a dog. They have a large, vicious dog, you see. But they've had this dog since it was a puppy, and they're very proud of it, and they're completely unaware of the fact that it's now a large, vicious dog, you see. And you're kind of on the horns of a dilemma, because you don't know, you don't want to offend the guy by appearing ill at ease, and at the same time, you don't want to get eaten alive by this large monster. So you're invited to the guy's house, and usually it winds up the evening going something like this. Oh, gee, this is a real nice place you got out here, Harry. Gee, I love this chair. Modern, isn't it? Yeah. It seemed kind of lonely out here. There aren't too many houses around. I imagine it gets kind of lonely at night, doesn't it? Oh, you have a dog, do you? Oh, sure, I'd love to see him. Where is he? In the backyard? Sure, let him in. Oh. Hi there, fella. Hi. Hi, boy. Boy, he's a lot heavier than he looks, isn't he, Harry? Well, you can keep you pinned to the chair like that with just his 2 front paws. You just beat him, did you, Harry? What'd you get, Mary? Liver. I thought that's what it was, Harry. He starts to bother me, just cuff him behind the ear. I sure will, Harry. Hi. What kind of dog is he, Harry? Doberman, is that right? See, they make great watchdogs, don't they? You nearly tore the burglar to pieces before you could get him off. Hi there, fella. Hi, boy. Boy, you're a pretty dog. What I like a what, Harry? A drink. Yeah, a drink would be fine, Harry. Scotch and water. You aren't going to have to leave the room, are you, Harry? Harry. Hi there, fella. Hi, boy. I don't suppose you want to get down, boy, do you? Just stay like this. You want to play a little game, boy? Want to chase the fountain pen, boy? Chase the fountain pen, boy. Here you go, boy. Boy, you're a fast little dog, aren't you? Want to give me back the fountain pen, boy? Don't want to give me back the pen, huh, boy? Chew it up good. That's the way, boy. Swallow it, boy. Maybe it'll stick in your... Hi, Harry. Yeah, we're getting along just fine. No, it doesn't bother me at all. Oh, all right. Well, if you want to tell him to get down. Hi there, fella. Hi, boy. Boy, he sure looks harmless, just laying there on the floor, doesn't he? Yeah, he chewed my fountain pen, Harry. Kind of looks like a chow there with that blue tongue, doesn't he? Oh, my drink, yeah. What'd I do, Harry? Any sudden movements? Is that right? He was trained that way, was he? Where'd you get him from, Harry? The Army. Whose Army, Harry? Why'd they let him go, Harry? Don't tell me what he did to the general, Harry, would you? It was the general's fault, though. He acted afraid of the dog, did he? And they can sense that. Is that right? Just appear at ease, and that'll make him relax. That sure makes a lot of sense, Harry. You just cross your legs or say, a little too sudden, was that, Harry? Let go, boy. No. Don't be silly. No, the suit's almost a month old, Harry. Don't be silly. No, he hardly broke the skin, Harry. Would I like to see him what? Do his trick. What's his trick, Harry? Roll over. Play dead, maybe, Harry? No. Make my hand into a fist and act like I'm going to attack you. I believe you, Harry. Hey, listen, Harry, I gotta be going. No, I don't need any more ice, Harry. Harry, don't take. I don't need any. Harry. Hi there, fella. Hi, boy. What are you growling at, boy? The gumdrops? You want some of the gumdrops, boy? Hey. Oh, you don't even chew it, do you, fella? You want some more gumdrops, boy, do you? More gumdrops, fella. Yeah, hi, Harry. Oh, we're getting along fine now. We're real pals. Well, he sure loves those gumdrops, doesn't he? Only trouble is when they're all gone, he doesn't understand. They're almost gone now, Harry. You want to fill the dish up with some more gumdrops? You don't have any more gumdrops. It's the last one, boy. All gone. Last one. Let go, boy. Boy, let go. Where's he dragging me, Harry? Harry, get some more gumdrops. Harry!
Oh, that was the late, great Bob Newhart, one of the funniest men to have ever lived. A very good, humble, kind man. Married for, I think he was married for close to 60 years or something like that. He's married to one wife for such a long time. Not that that's a bad thing, obviously. It's a good thing.
Very good.
But he died today after a short illness. I think he was in his 80s. I don't have that exact information. Should probably look that up. That should be easy to look up, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, he's going to be missed. Hopefully he's having a better time now. I've been enjoying some of that humor of the divine.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you could like try to just like imagine him getting up there like, so is it, do I go in? Same period, like, well, you gotta wait for judgment. So am I in or am I out? He would do it much better, obviously, because he's him. But thank you all. Yeah, there's definitely a Divine Comedy joke in there. Thank you all for taking the time tonight for us to do this character creation. We'll get the actual show up soon when we can get that taken care of, and you guys will have a great time with it. But otherwise, that's the show. We got our character creation. We had some Bob Newhart in there. So let's just one more quick prayer, I suppose, and that's a good way to end things off on this thing. And then, dear God, thank you for giving us this time today so that we could create characters for our show that we're going to be doing, and that we can all have a good time. And thank you for giving us the listeners that we have. And if you want to inspire others to listen, I mean, I'm not going to question that. I'm just going to let that happen. whatever is within your will. And please keep a guiding hand, not just over Bob Newhart, although also over Bob Newhart, but for anyone, all of our friends and family who we have lost, and whom we would love to see again in your eternal glory. And if anyone else who's listening or watching or whatever has any prayer intentions, please treat them as though they were our own. Not that I have any particular additional weight to it, but you know what I'm saying. All right. In Jesus' name we pray. I mean, possibly feels good to be soft. Amen.
Son, Holy Spirit. All right.
Later, guys.